Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with Alex and Ryan talking about Gerrit Cole leaving yesterday's game after 6 beautiful innings of one-run baseball. Cole was looking like his usual monster self and then pulled himself out of the game with what looked like a right calf injury. We didn't really know what was going on at first. He said there was no pain walking. There was really no pain at all when he was doing normal things, but then did mention that on his follow-through he was feeling something. So, Ryan, looking at this situation, it's been reported since that it was just cramps, which is like the best case scenario, but he could still miss his next start if they just be precautious and, obviously show a little bit of just caution in general with his injury. You don't want to test stuff like this. You don't want to risk it with Gerrit Cole. How are you feeling right now about that? Luckily, it seems that we dodged the I guess, anything serious or severe that could keep him out for a long period of time.
I think anytime you talk about a pitcher injury and you can focus more on the lower part of their body and not the upper half, that's always, somewhat encouraging. Kodai Senga did go down with a calf injury with the Mets. It was a calf strain. It basically knocked him out for the rest of the season. So I think my first concern was that whether it was a strain or a cramp, it seemed to have been a cramp. And, what I think is important is that it's Texas, it's Arlington, it's the start of September. It's cooler here in New York, but, over there, it is storm season. It's when, hot and cold air start to mix, cold air from the north, hot air from the south. That typically creates stormy weather, humid weather. So, it's unbearable heat. I know that's a dome. It's kind of heat control, but it can be hot on that field. And, thankfully, as you mentioned, I think we avoided something really serious here with Gerrit Cole. Obviously, they'll do some testing. Maybe something comes up that isn't so great, but I would lean on this is pretty encouraging. And I would say this about Gerrit Cole. He has been awesome since that start against the Mets. Really, it is the 2 starts against the New York Mets that have made him look not great. If you look at his starts since July 30th, which is his last 11 starts, a 2.95 ERA, a 3.31 FIP, a 1.03 home runs per 9 is basically league average. He struck out 28.5% of batters faced. If you want to look at just his last 5 starts, he has a 31.3% strikeout rate. His ERA is sub 2 over that stretch. It's 1.59. His velo, I know that there's some instances where he's throwing 92, 93, what's going on? But he seems to be packing his velo for some big spots and getting himself rolling. I think what might have been happening is that he might be dealing with cramps and, maybe it's just not allowing him to get off to the way he wants to start. He's kind of preserving it. The pitch that I think has really impressed me, though, is the curveball. The knuckle curveball was solid for him last year. It wasn't his first, second, or third pitch. It was, it's always been fastball primary. His slider became his secondary pitch, kind of after with the Yankees and with Houston. That's always been his go-to secondary. And the cutter kind of became that tertiary pitch for him last year. Now it's the curveball as a secondary pitch. And that curveball, dude, it's gross. That knuckle curve is disgusting. His knuckle curveball, it has 54.7 inches of drop, which is a little bit more than last year at 53.9. It's not moving as much horizontally, but I think that's fine. I think what you want with the knuckle curveball is more of that straight drop to play off of the fastball. It's been awesome for him. It has a 34.1% whiff rate. Batters are hitting 174 with a 196 slug against it. His fastball whiff rate has actually ticked up from last year a little bit. It's at 23.7% compared to 22.8% this season. A put away rate of 22.5% compared to 21.6%. The vertical movement on his fastball is actually up by a little bit, just a tiny bit. It's nothing notable, but the vertical ride's there. The velo's roughly there. I feel good about his ability to separate vertically in terms of just, again, getting that north-south movement. Slider's actually picking up similar whiffs to last year. I feel pretty good about those 3 pitches. The pitch that I think he needs to get back is that cutter. That cutter isn't getting as much ride as it did last year. I think it has been an impact pitch for him because of it. Last night, I think we saw a better version of the cutter than we had saw all year. The changeup, he's been throwing it a little bit more aggressively, and he's actually been getting some decent numbers with it as of late. But again, it comes down to that fastball and having at least one of his 2 breaking balls. But if he has both, if he has the fastball, slider, curveball going, that's Houston Gerrit Cole, folks. That's Houston Gerrit. That's the Gerrit Cole that should have won the 2019 Cy Young. So, I feel really encouraged with where he's at. And Alex, this team needs an ace. This team needs got to step up. And last night, they needed a guy to step up and make a big time start. They had just lost that game. They had lost a terrible series against the Cardinals, lost a terrible series against the Nationals. Gerrit Cole delivered last night. That's exactly what you expect from him, and he's been awesome, really, for the last month or so.
Absolutely. I mean, Cole has looked like the ace version of himself. This is a guy that the Yankees need healthy for the duration of this season and notably during the playoffs. So, right now, I think it's important the Yankees give him as much time as he needs to just shake this off and get back to where he is. Maybe he skips one start, but we still get 3 more starts out of him going into the playoffs. And I think we can be pretty happy with that, given the progress that he has made. But I really wanted to talk about a positive thing here with Gleyber Torres. And, Gleyber Torres is putting together what seems to be a late season resurgence. He has really come back from the dead. Gleyber was one of those Verdugo situations or even DJ LeMahieu situations where he just was absent. He was not playing well. Defense was bad. Still, not doing so well defensively, but he has been making some bigger plays as of late. And offensively was a complete liability. But he's found a home at the leadoff spot. His chase rate ranks in the 92nd percentile. This is a guy that, his slugging metrics are basically at career lows across the board, but he's making good quality contact, singles, doubles, getting on base a little bit more. His walk rate's going up. His numbers at the leadoff spot have been really, really solid lately. I think it's fair that we give him his flowers. We've talked about him a little bit more frequently recently, but with guys like Judge being a little bit quieter over the last couple of days, they've needed a guy like Torres to step up and provide this level of production. Ryan, how essential is it that Gleyber is playing like this for the rest of the year? I mean, he's starting to heat up. Got to maintain it. He looks really good yesterday again. Couple RBIs. Got on base pretty frequently. That's all you can ask from him. He's been a key in the offensive cog. But at the end of the day, we need the rest of the guys to step up. Rizzo's looked good, but like you said, on Twitter a couple times, like in these moments, you need your MVP caliber guys to step up and hit. Soto, Judge been a little bit quieter, but not really worried about them. They'll ramp up. They'll be fine. But the rest of the team's picking them up right now, and you love to see that. Just a full team effort, even when the stars are struggling. The supplementary complements step up and actually, kind of carry the load. And I think that we saw a lot of good offensive production from guys like Gleyber over the last couple days.
Yeah, something I really like that you pointed out is that, Soto and Judge have been struggling, and they did not win the Cardinals series, and it was not because of their offense. Their offense did enough to win. Honestly, their offense did enough to sweep the Cardinals, right? Like, their worst team offensive performance was probably the game where Wells hit 2 home runs and won the game for them. They did enough to win that second game offensively. They scored 6 runs. They came back. The pitching put them in a hole. I'm sorry, you just can't expect the team to climb out of a 6-run deficit. You just can't. You can't put it on the offense. I'm sorry. The pitching staff allowed 14 runs against the Cardinals on that last game. And he scored 7. They came all the way back down 7-1 to tie that baby up. That is not on the New York Yankees. I don't care what anyone tells me. That is not on the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees should not be expected, or the Yankee offense should not be expected to score 8 runs in order to win a baseball game, right? So, and over that stretch, and yesterday scored a lot of runs, scored 8 runs. Wasn't the Judge show, wasn't the Soto show. It was Stan coming up with some big hits. It was Torres setting the tone. It was Rizzo scoring some RBIs. It's Jazz Chisholm getting the job done. Even Wells over the last couple of games, I don't think he has a hit over his last 3 games. I think he's gotten on base with a couple of walks. So it's not even like Wells, like he did on Friday, is single-handedly dredging this team through those runs. They're getting production 1 through 9. And what that shows me is that this team can score runs even if they don't get a guy like Soto and Judge to mash. So, I think it's so important to talk about the fact that the New York Yankees have a more circular lineup, right? I know that a lot of the focus, and understandably so, is on what they did in left field or what they haven't done in left field. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. But I think another point of emphasis is to just mention the New York Yankees are getting production offensively right now. My biggest concern is what they're going to do pitching-wise. Can they get some guys to get it rolling? Can they get Clark Schmidt to come back and take the ball and look like the guy he looked like before the injury? Can he look more like the pitcher we saw in July instead of the pitcher we saw, towards the end of August? And then as it pertains to Gleyber Torres, the thing I really love about what he's doing lately, he's swinging the bat harder. His bat speed has jumped up from 70 miles an hour, 71.5 miles an hour since moving up to the leadoff spot. He's trying to pull the ball. He's working good counts. He's not striking out. He's getting on base. As you mentioned, the power's not there. He's not crushing the baseball. We're not seeing the version of Gleyber Torres that's going to hit 25 home runs. It seems like it's not there. But the confidence to go, I'm going to pull it. I'm going to pull the ball. I'm going to rip the ball. I'm going to get my swing where I need to get it to. I'm swinging a little harder. He's not hitting as many line drives. I think he's missing the barrel a little bit. He's missing a sweet spot, But that's fine with me because I think the process at the plate, once he gets comfortable swinging as hard as he's swinging, I think it'll result in some more damage contact. And what matters for Gleyber Torres from here on forward is what he does again, what he does from now, in September and in October, I don't really care if the season numbers are underwhelming if he does well in the postseason. And even defensively, I just feel like he's playing with more confidence. That play yesterday, look, I don't know if Corey Seager ties the game up with a home run or something, but Clay Holmes didn't look right. He didn't. He looked erratic. He looked wild. He didn't allow an earned run in that outing, but it was an outing that I consider worse than even outings where he has allowed earned runs. I think like that Philly game, even that Detroit game, the Little League World Series game. And Torres, he makes a great play, a phenomenal stab to win the game. That's the kind of stuff we have been seeing from Gleyber lately. It's those excellent defensive plays. It's the sharp, crisp, consistent defense. I think Gleyber, for the first time in the year 2024, has found himself, has said, no, I am a good baseball player. I'm going to go out and ball out. And credit to leadership. That's again, a product of the clubhouse Aaron Judge has built as the captain of this team. Part of, Aaron Boone, for everything I rip him for in terms of whether it's public comments about supporting a player who I don't think is very good. Hey, he's a guy who believes in his players, and I'm sure it rubs off positively on a guy like Gleyber Torres. So, if they could get him back online, which it seems they have, that's such a huge part of this team because they just need a guy to get on base in front of them. And I also want to shout out Jazz Chisholm because Alex, the guy's a goddamn stud muffin. He's got 10 steals already with the Yankees. He's got, I think, 8 home runs or 9 home runs with the Bronx Bombers. This guy has 32 steals in the season, folks. I didn't know this. They haven't had a guy on their team with 30 or more steals since 2014 Jacoby Ellsbury, when he stole 39 bases. This guy is dynamic. And him and Volpe on the base pass, they're going to cause havoc. You can't, yesterday, Jonah Heim is fully aware that Jazz Chisholm is going to steal second base. Jazz Chisholm is staring at Rizzo while he's running to see if the guy strikes out or walks. Jonah Heim fires a perfect throw on the money, and Jazz Chisholm still beats it. And then he goes steals third base because he's just like that. He plays with such confidence. I think confidence is what this team needs to play with because, again, the talent is on the roster. It's right in front of them. These guys are good enough to win the division. These guys are good enough to win the World Series. They just have to play like it, right? And I feel like guys like Gleyber getting back online, guys like Cole throwing the way he's throwing, that's what they need. They just need to pull together for once, just for a little bit more. You just got to do it for 2 months. You just got to figure it out for 2 months. Find a way. Dig deep and find a way.
And look, they have plenty of ways to do it. They have plenty of talent to get it done, especially when Soto and Judge heat up here. And these guys, if they can maintain the production they've been putting together recently, it is going to be a special offensive performance. They just got to get hot at the right time. Reinforcements on the way with Luis Hill and Clark Schmidt, as we referenced yesterday, rejoining this team over the weekend, hopefully. Cole, we'll keep you guys updated there if there's any further developments. We know Ian Hamilton is undergoing some back spasms, but shouldn't set him back too much, at the very least. But, this team... Yeah, they have plenty of weaknesses, but so do all the really good teams in the league. The Dodgers or the Orioles or whoever it might be. The Brewers are kind of surging right now, but every team has their weaknesses. Every team has their flaws, and the truth is, the Yankees have more than enough talent to win baseball games. It's just about consistency and doing it as a collective, not an individual. The offense is performing like a collective right now. They have the best run differential in the game. So now it's about the pitching, stepping up, performing well, and being consistent. The starting rotation could use it. They got a really good performance from Cole yesterday. I know Luke Weaver gave up 2 earned runs, but they kind of tossed him in there out of nowhere. I don't think he was ready to get thrown in there, so we'll give him a break. But today, I think who's on the mound? Rodon is on the mound today, if I'm not mistaken. That's a big game
versus the
Rodon.
Dog.
Yeah, listen, we need Rodon to play well. He is right now. I'd say they probably give him a start in the postseason. We need him to heat up, dude. He might be the difference between winning and losing a playoff game, or rather, winning and losing a playoff series. If he has to make 2 starts in a playoff series, he could be the reason we win or lose. So we need him to get better now, ASAP. There's no time to waste, my friend. So, we'll be keeping a close eye on Rodon and his performance as always, my friends. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Fireside Yankees podcast as always. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Perfect.